Alright, and we're back. This is a week later, but we're going to be doing one of my least favorite levels in the entire game. Why is that? Well, I don't really know. We'll get into it in a minute. So, this is the second half of Serious Sam. I'm not really as familiar with it as the first, because the first is obviously just much more polished in my opinion. And I really quite enjoy it. It's still very fun, but I don't know. I feel like if you just play all the way to the end of Memphis, it's probably okay. Like, if you don't like Serious Sam by that point, you're probably not going to be sold on the concept for much longer. So, we do start out with less equipment. That might be kind of a buzzkill to most players, but, you know, if you've ever played any game from pretty much any time period ever before 2000 whatever, it's pretty common practice. I mean, it's not a big deal anyways. Like, we're going to be introduced to one of the best weapons in probably an FPS ever, which, appearance-wise, it doesn't get very many points. You know, practicality-wise, oh baby, it's going to be pretty ballin'. God, it feels so weird. Like, for you guys, you're just watching me get back into it, but for me, it's like, I don't know, it's like a week later, so it's just weird. Been playing a lot of Tomb Raider 1. So, I love how I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna play, what's it called, like, Criminal Origins over and over, and then I play something else. I've been getting absorbed into the anomaly that is the Tomb Raider series, because I have played Tomb Raider 1 on the channel before, but it was only a few levels. I think I got to the Coliseum on the YouTube playthrough, and I decided to scrap it, because it was pretty bad. I'm not really a fan of how I played through it, so yeah, I might be playing through that next. I just finished playing Tomb Raider 1 for like the 200th time or something like that. I don't know. It's one of my favorite games. It really is. And I always go back and enjoy playing it. I swear, it's just Serious Sam, man. It just does things to you. It's like, you know, I really want to play Tomb Raider now. But I don't know. So let's talk about Serious Sam and not talk about Tomb Raider right this second, I should say. But so, starting off, we don't have any of our weapons except the double barrel, and I believe somehow every time I play this level I end up getting the rocket launcher before this part. Like, notice I don't have it right now. Now let's go ahead and pick up these rockets and watch this. Now we suddenly have the rocket launcher? Like, I don't know, it's weird. I'm not really sure what to think about it, you know. I'm not really upset by it, but it's strange they don't give it to you sooner. And it would make that last Reptiloid a lot easier to fight. I actually remember I used to piss my ex-girlfriend off by referring to reptilian conspiracy theorists as Reptiloids, and she'd never played Serious Sam, so she didn't get it. I don't really like to talk about her very much. Yeah, she used to play WoW quite a bit, and I'd rip on her for it. Like, if we could play a roleplay character, play a real game. I tried to get her to play Minecraft with me and a couple of my friends, and it was just an awful experience. She just basically fucked up and lost a bunch of shit. And she did love watching me play Insane Trilogy for about 5 seconds, I'm pretty sure. Until I started referencing it day in and day out. What do you want, Framps? What are you gonna yell at me for? The door's cracked, he's just too... There you go, you're using the noodle. You big bastard. So anyways, if you have played Serious Sam in the past, as in this isn't your first rodeo here, I mean, this portion is actually pretty solid, I think, at the beginning, but after the last bit, I ain't gonna lie, I might die here in the next couple levels, because some of the difficulty just feels really unbalanced, and I don't mean that like I'm bad at video games, but it's true, it really does hamper towards the end, especially towards the last technical regular stage before Great Pyramid. I really don't think it's as good as it could have been, and it's just really sloppy. Serious Sam 2 does it a lot better. And like I said, whenever I refer to Serious Sam 2, I'm referring to the second encounter. I love how that's the kind of level we have to talk about with Serious Sam 2, and I might as well get this out of the way. I haven't played it, as I've said, but it's just a different game. Like, it really is. It almost doesn't feel like it was made by the same fucking people. And it's... I mean, I've seen it, too. I own the game. I just haven't played it. And I'm sure it's great, but it's just the tone is just so damn jarring. I don't know. Maybe that's just, you know, me being a punk-ass hoe, but I don't know, it just feels weird. I really quite enjoy Serious Sam 3 after the Egypt section, or the intro to Cairo, because the intro to Cairo is really iffy. And I'm kind of glad there's really not that many Serious Sam games, if I'm honest, because, I mean, I don't really like when a series has like 800 titles in it, you know, going back and playing Tomb Raider 1, I'm looking at my library and I'm like, good god, I got there's 5 classic games, including Angel of Darkness, which is horrible. I have played Angel of Darkness with a friend once, and I was like, this game is bad, dude. Like, when it came out, it was a big deal. Because you gotta remember, I was talking to somebody about this at work today, I'm like, you know what's crazy is to think that people nowadays rip on Lara Croft for being, like, you know, sexist or whatever, despite her not being sexist, or I'd say she's more insane than sexist, or whatever. Like, she's like a male fantasy thing, you know, like James Bond or something like that, but I don't really think so. Lara Croft's never really sexualized. She just has, like, an athletic body with large breasts. That doesn't mean she's, like, gross, I guess, you know what I mean? She doesn't have sex with people, but, you know, my point is, back in the day, she was, like, an icon, like, for gaming. Nowadays, she's just... Yeah, look at the size of that thing. That's what she is. Owned. So, this is the canon. This is this game's version of the BFG, basically. So, the way it works is you can hold it down for a longer charge, or you can just kind of chunk it at things. The best application for the cannon gun is the bulls and the biomechs. It's just way too good against the biomechs. It's basically a one-shot. It does have some splash damage, so you cannot be really reckless with it. You'll absolutely annihilate yourself. So it's a good quick swap key, you know, just get like a shotgun, your rocket launcher, whatever, and then just have this bad boy on standby. It's nowhere as good as the sniper rifle in Serious Sam 2, or the second encounter, like, but it's pretty damn good. It's not a very, you know, loosey-goosey kind of weapon. Like, you can't just kind of piss this ammo away. It's not very common. So, it's pretty important to make sure you're on top of your ammo with it. And only use it when you know you've got to use it. So, yeah, always try to be really liberal with your shots, you know? You don't want to be kind of a jackass with it. You got to make sure pretty much you're either using it on, like, really desperate emergency situations, like these clear. There is no way in hell I'd use it on, like, a clear, because they just die so quickly. You don't really need that kind of firepower. But don't feel like you can't ever use it. The ammo's generally enough to where you can reliably have it as an emergency get out of jail free card, but it's nowhere as, like, room clearing as, like, a BFG from Doom, or, you know, the Devastators from Duke Nukem. It's more along the lines of, like, just, you know, there's a lot of crap on screen that's really dangerous, I can line it up and hit it down. Like, it's not really something like that. Which is kind of a damn shame, because Serious Sam's second encounter actually has a BFG weapon. It's called the Smart Bomb. So if you're like, oh, this game sucks, doesn't have a BFG weapon, like, just play second encounter. The Smart Bombs are pretty rare, but when you get to use them, damn, you really know you have to use it, basically. And it's something I feel this game misses. Like, they should have had, like, really ultra rare, like, things like that. It kind of sucks because Serious Sam 3 does technically have a version of, like, the Devastator. I mean, it's called the Devastator, but it's not the Devastator from Duke Nukem. But, it is pretty damn good. Like, I won't say anything bad about that game's weapons. They're actually, for the most part, relatively well designed. I mean, they're pretty much just these weapons I'm using right now, just slightly different. Like, the handgun in that game is a single thing. You have to reload it. I remember people bitching up a storm about, like, oh, there's aiming in down sights with, like, one weapon. Like, it's not even a big deal, and it's really not even a inconvenience, honestly. I think the assault rifle having a clip is actually fine. I don't have any qualms against that. So this is what I was talking about. This is kind of how you want to use the cannon, so I'm going to try and save it up a bit. I don't want to waste all of my... Well, never mind. We're out now. That's cool. This is not a good situation to be in. Oh dear. I wish I really had a hotkey bound to third person for these kinds of moments, because it's very important to make sure you know your situation. As I said, the second half of Serious Sam, not really my favorite. It's a bit arbitrarily difficult. I don't think that it's as well balanced as the beginning of Serious Sam. It's just probably a thing, you know. As someone who's designed Doom levels and stuff, I can comfortably say after a few hours of just designing stuff, you are going to run out of steam. But it's still really good. I wouldn't say it destroys the experience, because I will honestly say Serious Sam 3's intro is absolutely ass. It makes you want to just stop playing. But if you can pursue through it, you're totally fine. My mouse cable just keeps getting stuck behind my monitor. It keeps wrapping. I don't think you guys can even visibly tell that it's doing that. I hope you can't. But yeah, by the way, look at that. We have a minigun now suddenly. Like, I swear this only happens in this section of the game only. So don't be like, oh no, I lost all my goodies. Yeah, you're gonna be fine, man, trust me. Alright, I do believe, yeah, this is where we're gonna get introduced to a new enemy type. We're gonna get introduced to the magma monster, which really sucks. So, but it's not for a while, so we got plenty of time to just get, you know, get some shit going here. So the part of this puzzle is to basically drag these 4 artifacts to the middle obelisk. But of course, this is Serious Sam, so what do you expect? You're not going to have an easy time. Like I said, this whole series is basically just pick up item, enemies spawn. It's like the bare essential of like old FPS logic, really. So, at this point in the game, you should really understand what weapons work best. And like I said, now that we have the cannon, we can pretty much make just done. Look at that shit. Like, it just takes care of the major biomechs in like a second. Basically trivializes them completely, which is awesome. I mean, they have so much health. And you can use whatever you want on the minor. That was not what I meant to use. But yeah, this part of the game is pretty unforgiving at this point. So it's like, yeah, you got this far. Let's see how well you figured it out. And I do recommend picking up these ammo packs, because they do actually contain rockets. And they also contain cannonballs. So I really recommend picking those up. And also, if you're a bitch like me and you're quick saving, keep in mind that the game does not actually save each time you pick up one of these artifacts. The checkpoint doesn't trigger until you've actually physically finished the puzzle. So don't try to like pick them all up either. You can do that, but you're probably going to generate way too many enemies that you can take care of. So don't go nuts and just try and pick up everything in the entire area. I've done that before, and I've maybe pulled it off one time. I also love how... I like how I sound like a bitch when I'm like, oh, I have never actually finished Serious Sam on serious difficulty, but I'm dead serious, man. If you put this game on serious, you're gonna have a hell of a time. It's an absolute nightmare of a game. It's really quite difficult. Like, it's almost just, like, so difficult it doesn't feel balanced. And I'm sure someone out there is like, oh, it's easy once you get used to it. I'm like, I don't know, man. I've played, like, a quarter of the way through the game, and I'm like, it's just too much. It just becomes so unfun. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bitch. Who knows? Also, something I forgot to mention, in Serious Sam 3, like, the laser gun here, and I think it's the... what's the other gun that gets, like... It's the sniper rifle, I'm pretty sure? Like, you basically just don't get those at all. Like, for the entire game. It's really weird. They're only relegated to, like, secret areas. It's so severely weird, because I would argue that the laser gun isn't really useful. Okay, don't no, that's not true. Laser gun's super useful, but it's not as important as other weapons like the minigun, because the minigun shoots faster, it has a higher DPS. But like the sniper rifle, oh man, that weapon is absolutely essential in Serious Sam Second Encounter. Like, if you don't have that out, you're, as like a quick swap, you're pretty much fucked. Like, it is so damn useful to have that weapon on like this, basically, so... Yeah, trust me, you don't want to fuck around with that without having it. You don't know what it's like till you don't have it, really. It's... I mean, I'm playing Serious Sam 1, obviously, just fine. But, like, it's the amount of utility that you get from it, that once you don't have it, after you've had it for an entire game, and then they throw it in there, but like just really infrequently being able to use it, you really feel how just awesome it is as a weapon. Because it doesn't feel broken, it doesn't even feel like a crutch either, because the game is centered around having that weapon, like with enemies from being far away and stuff, which doesn't, from my memory, I haven't played Serious Sam 3 all the way through in a while, maybe about 2 years. I've played it maybe 4 times in total, and each time, I always say it's like, the entire design of the game is a little bit different than like traditional Serious Sam. Like, I'm playing like shit right now, by the way, I can't really focus as much as I want to, but, let me just get rid of this horse shit first. Actually, what am I doing? Let's do this. The entire design philosophy of 3 is totally different. Like, it's... I would say 3 is more designed on mobs than it is individual units, like in Serious Sam 1. Like, I really can't explain it. They're just... It's a different kind of game. Like, 2, as in the second encounter, is very much a... It's like this formula, but like a little bit more refined. I'd say it's really good, but like maybe 3 is more of like a lot more enemies spawn in. You have a lot more stuff to take care of. Like it's just the pacing is just totally different. I really can't explain it. Like it's still really good though. I don't think it's a terrible game, but the intro is bad. It's like notoriously bad. The best way to put it is, you go through these really linear, but they're really badly mapped at the same time, like environments, and you don't have a lot of like wiggle room, and a lot of the encounters are very crammed and unforgiving. Like you don't have a lot of, you know, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just the pacing is totally different, and the game feels different too. Like you have a sprint key, which you may think, oh, that makes it harder, but it really doesn't come into play that often. Like, there's only a handful of new enemies. There's like the monkey lizard enemy, which is really only in like 2 levels pretty much. Oh, the frame skips, I forgot all about you. I still have no idea what's causing that. It's probably something to do with the optimization. It's not my PC, I guarantee you. Like, I hate to say it like that, but it's just, this is a beta, like perpetual beta basically, so there is inevitably going to be issues. But yeah, 3 just, it's a different game. Like, it really is. I'm not saying that in a bad way either. It's just a totally different game. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. I actually like it a lot. It's just I don't like the beginning, and that's not a good thing for a game. And it's actually pretty short. It's maybe only about like 4 hours long. I'd say the first 2 hours of it are like just the most drawn out shit ever. I really like that game, but I really don't at the same time. So here we go. We're gonna fight our... Oh, we're gonna fight the big boy, aren't we? So wait for his health bar to show up, because if you don't, he doesn't take damage, which is really bad design in my opinion, but whatever. So you can use pretty much anything. I'm just holding down the fire button to do this. You don't want to let those things stay alive very long though. So the little magma monsters, well, little, like, those guys take an entire cannonball to take down, like, and then a little bit of damage. Usually it's, the way I kind of follow it up is a rocket or a shotgun blast, and that's generally how I take care of them. You can see right now, that's a fully charged shot, and I haven't really mentioned this yet, but a fully charged cannonball is the most damage it does, so you do need to make sure you're doing that just right. See, like, you can just pretty much chip them away. You never fight this many of these magma dudes, like, at once any other time in the game, so you can use pretty much anything you want, you know, just rocket, shotgun, whatever makes you happy. At this point, they're just a bunch of spam, so for the most part, though, you can shoot their projectiles like you can see, but you don't fight this many very often, if ever. Even in, I think in second encounter, you don't fight that many of them either. They're pretty much just like they're the tankiest enemy in the entire game, basically. They're kind of not very high priority, they just kind of make you go, well, that's annoying. But see what I mean? We already have our entire inventory back. It's not a big deal. Not a huge loss. So, and plus, you know, we get the big boy gun. Who doesn't like to be a big boy? I'm a big boy. So, I quite enjoy you know, your brief like departure from your arsenal is pretty brief, but yeah, that was you know, approaching Thebes, and I'll see you in the next one.